This story begins in the town of Thessaran, on Del, a young colonial town established by the Omnian Empire 30 years ago. You are all here for your own reasons, as discussed in your backstories, and you are all looking for work. You have recently accepted a contract from the Harpers, a well-known and respected faction dedicated to stomping out the roots of evil all across Toril, and they now seek to build their foundations in the New World early. The contract is extremely lucrative, promising 25 gold on completion, but warns that it is extremely dangerous. You have been instructed to meet a man going by V. Valakovich at Dock 14 at 9 a.m. on the next day, and to be prepared to depart immediately. And with that, let's do character introductions.
You see a fairly unkempt man, appears to be human. However, there are a couple of features that are very slightly off to be human. You think that you can barely see like the in the corners of his mouth. He has canines there. He is very hairy in general. Nose is like a bit flat. And in general has a bit of a wild appearance to him. And as he steps forward, at his side walks a fairly large ape that is just kind of, tagging along beside him. So I go towards, presumably this is the dock that I'm supposed to be at. And then I'll say, well, Steve, who do you think these folk are? These them? And then he'll look over.
As you're eyeing them up, you see the two men. One of them, he has red hair and a scraggly beard and an eye patch over both eyes, with a red parrot on his shoulder. The other man, reasonably well dressed, but he has a pretty disheveled look and some rather unkept sideburns. But the feature about him that stands out the most is the entire left side of his face is covered in a sickly black, rotting flesh. Well met, Victor Valakovich, at your service. Gives a slight bow. This is Captain Vlads, and the man with the beard gives a bow.
From the south side of the dock, there is a dwarf. You notice that they are trying to avoid the water a bit, walking inland. They have red hair, a pair of heavier goggles, and despite the warm weather of the port, they're wearing rather well-kept and rather heavy furs. They have a simple shield on their arm, and they approach the dock, looking rather frustrated with the whole circumstance. Hello there. How are you?
Yeah, quite well. My name is Victor Valakovich. Are you one of the adventurers we hired?
Hired. I guess I'm part of the whole quid pro quo between the Emerald Enclave and the Harpers, so yes, hired would be the operative word.
Yes, correct. Well met.
I have to ask, is there another way to get where we're going without having to use a boat?
I'm quite afraid not. Boat will be the safest way of traveling there, and we need to transport quite a few people as well.
Well, I might just take up a residence near the side, so when I get sick, which I will, because I absolutely detest sailing, no one will be in my way. Kai Dagvin. And you?
Oh. Hey, Steve.
Hello, Steve. And you?
Oh, I'm Ergen.
Well met, Ergen. I'm not much of a fighter, so I don't expect me to, throw down with you or anything. I'm just here to make maps most of the time.
I can get away from a lot of things.
Sounds wonderful.
You see a figure lumbering in slowly from the north, taking his time. stretching it out as a reptilian-like creature with a shell, green skin, and a brownish colored shell, with a shield and a symbol of faith around his neck, of twins or of the golden scales, approaches you. Stops and looks you all up and down and says, "Hello.
Ah, you must
Are
be.
you waiting for me?"
Yes. Were you hired to be on the strike team?
Well, I hope so. I hope I'm not doing this for free. Free doesn't
No.
fill my stomach.
Of course not. You will be well compensated. Victor Valakovich, at your service.
Sheldon very, very slowly grabs his hand and shakes it. Sheldon, nice to meet
Sheldon.
you.
Well, nice to meet you as well. Allow me to introduce you to your captain. This is Captain Valads. Ahoy.
Hello.
Oh, fuck. First a monkey, now a turtle. Tortle, I'm sorry. This
Mind
is...
your pronunciation,
That's
or
fair
you'll be
enough.
getting a shell over your head.
That's fair enough, I'm sorry. I'm just a bit testy at the moment. I don't like the open water. Don't like water in general.
That's a shame. This is a nice place to go for a swim.
I would disagree on the principle of there being no good places to go for a swim.
Well, I suppose I should give you your briefing and inform you of what it is exactly that you'll be doing. Tell me, bit of background. Surely you've all heard of the Death Curse, correct? The Death
I've heard.
Curse is a mysterious plague that has afflicted the entire world. It started about 2 weeks ago. And what the Death Curse does is now anybody who has died can now no longer be raised from the grave. So no revivify, no raise dead, no resurrection, no true resurrection, no reincarnate, nothing. As well as that, the people who have already been raised in the past are now slowly rotting away and degrading physically.
No, I'm not
So,
familiar with the death curse, Mr. Valakovich, but I take it that Scar, Kai motions to the side of their face. That's perhaps what's occurring there?
yes, it's a rather personal issue for me. I have been raised from the dead in the past, and now I've become afflicted with it, and well, I fear my time may be short. In the last few years, I have allied myself quite closely with the Harpers, and well, they can be a little lofty in their ways sometimes, but they genuinely do mean what's best for the world, and solving the Death Curse is a part of that. In addition to that, it is also going to restore the natural order, so the Emerald Enclave is on board fully as well. Can I help you, friend?
You say your name's Vlakovich.
Yeah, why, yes, I did.
Ergen looks a little confused. That sounds familiar to me for some reason.
Oh, are you perhaps one of the people from Barovia?
Yes.
Ah, I was the son of the burgomaster of Vallaki. Well, before Walkers took over.
How long ago was this?
About 2 years.
That's why.
We would like to get to the bottom of what is causing this death curse. It has archmages all across Faerun completely stumped as to what could cause this. But we know of a lich, a master of the undead and necromancy, and while she may not be the culprit, we suspect that she may at least be able to offer some guidance on what may be going on. However, she is extremely hostile. So, the plan is, the Harpers and the Emerald Enclave will lead a full-on frontal assault on her tower, her lair. An initial barrage from the coast, followed by a ground assault with muskets and spellcasters. Of course, we have no hope of defeating a lich, so this will only serve as a distraction. We need a strike team to infiltrate the basement caves and secure her phylactery. And then, perhaps we'll have a chance of negotiating.
surely this lich would be willing to cooperate. After all, our lich is not dead. Our lich is not affected by this curse.
Liches are not affected. They are undead. Undead do not seem to be impacted by this plague.
How do we let you know when we found the phylactery?
Oh, I'll be waiting outside the sea caves. Just come running back and get on the ship. And we'll yeet ourselves out of there.
Yeet.
Okie
Is
dokie.
that some sort of term I've not heard from Waterdeep?
Aye, be sailor's jargon.
Sailor's jargon.
From Luskin.
Luskin.
Boom, cannon. Suck it.
Damn.
Yeah, I heard that word when I was sailing when I was younger. Sailed all around the seas.
Oh,
So I did.
whereabouts you grow up?
I come from Chult, actually.
Oh,
You ever heard of the Snout of Omgar?
can't say I have. No geography buff.
Well, it's there somewhere.
Hmm.
Or on the southwest side of the peninsula.
So, fun geography fact. You guys are on Dell right now, which, in coordinating with the setting for Glimmer, is on its own planet. So, to get to Thessaran, you would have had to travel through a planar rift in the ocean, which
Oh.
coincidentally happens to be quite close to Chult.
Nice.
The tower's built onto a cliff. At the bottom of the cliff, there's some seaside caves. So our job is to park out behind the rocks just past the cliff and, well, wait for the sound of them to start shelling the tower.
I see. Well,
Oh, before I forget, hold on.
How will we hear those shells from all the way at the bottom of the cliff?
They'd be quite loud. Cannons, lad.
What's a cannon?
You begin to hear some gunfire and cannons in the distance.
I believe that's a signal.
Aye, off you get. Time is of the essence. Tick-tock, move, 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 move!
Alright. I'm moving. I'll get up your way. I'll move later. But I'm moving.
As you step into the cave and your eyes start to adjust to the darkness, or for Sheldon as you begin to cast light, you see that the walls of this cavern are smooth, as if eroded away by running water. And against the right wall, you do indeed see a pile of bloodied bones and skeletons, with a faint blood trail leading north. Those are all doors, and they're kind of like bars. You can see through them. So the one immediately on your right there, you hear kind of like a low growl, like a small creature, and some skittering.
Sheldon,
I trust my instincts. I'm sorry. I have to let it free.
I don't trust your instincts.
Well, I do. And so Sheldon is going to try and release the dragon.
So you open the door, and with a beat of its wings, it bounces off the ground and lands onto your shoulder, and begins to nuzzle your cheek affectionately.
Oh, I'm gonna have to.
At about this time, you feel another consciousness brush up against yours, and it seems very grateful and a little bit fearful.
It's okay, friend. We got you. You're getting out of here with us. Can you describe the chest in more detail?
Okay, it appears to be a gold-plated steel chest bolted to the floor with an ornate lock on the front.
Just in like the last round we have here before this.
Okay. It is a quite resilient chest, but you manage to dig your axe into it and do some damage to it, and you feel the lid starting to give way a little bit. And as soon as you impact it, you hear bzzz and see some sparks come out of the stubs where the iron rods were, but they do not do anything harmful. And inside, you see a beating heart.
Does anyone have a bottle with some stand in it?
Okay. This looks like it. So shit.
Grimace and put the heart in my bag and be like, ooh. I hope Killamvor doesn't get mad at me for this.
You feel the heart beating.
Well, move. We don't know. We don't know how
Let's
long
leave.
we've got. Maybe this lich will realize we've taken her heart. So,
All right. So back to business. You guys exit the sea caves and hop back in your longboat and begin to row back to the ship with Captain Valads. Hey, lads, you get it? Did you secure it?
we found a hut. Is that what you're looking for?
Well, I don't know. Is it a phylactery?
I don't know what a phylactery looks
I
like,
think
but
it is.
I don't store
I mean,
beating hearts in chests.
Was it in a secure location and did it seem important?
it's still beating.
Yes, and yes.
Aye, good enough for me. Let's go.
Okay. I hope this is it.
And
Yeah.
he's gonna bring up the anchor and throw it at full throttle and swing the ship around in a U-turn and make a break for the beach on the other side of the island.
No.
You see Victor, some of his robes a little bit singed, wand in hand. He rolls around to face you guys. Says, "Ah, have you secured the phylactery?
We've got
You
hut.
better have if you're here. Keep that thing at gunpoint at all times. This could go south very quickly."
Kai's gonna pull a small knife out of their pack and hold it like over the heart as well. Erican is pointing the gun.
As you bring the blade close to it, it gives one good resounding beat, and the thump that makes echoes across the island. And a black mist begins to come across the beach.
Oh fuck. Let's get back. Everyone.
The mist begins to form a humanoid shape of what looks to be a young woman.
Oh no.
Oh yes.
We're in trouble.
Looks like she's rotten too.
My phylactery! You've secured it. Why have you not killed me already? You've won! And Victor will raise his hand and take 2 steps back. Say, steady lads. Keep the gun trained on that. She could kill us with a word if she chose to. Zaldera Cordes, Duchess of Rot, Lich of Necromancy and Undead. We know you've studied the Death Curse. You would not leave such a subject unstudied. We know you would not be outdone. Tell us everything you know about it, or we will blow you to Kingdom Come. We know what this phylactery means to you. We know that it will mean your end if we destroy it. So come clean, and we will give it back to you, and be on our way. No one else has to die today. He'll give a somber look across the battlefield. And Zeldara the Lich will cross her arms and scowl, seeming like a word is just on the edge of her lips, like she is just about to cast a spell of immense power. But she thinks better of it, and takes a step forward. Very well. You wish to know of the Death Curse, the plague that has covered Faerun and this new world. Indeed, I have studied the Death Curse, but more of curiosity than anything else. I refuse to be outdone by anyone or anything, and I admit, I know very little about it. It seems to be tampering with the souls and their passage to the afterlife, making it a one-way trip. The curse on those living, like yourself, are because they have been tainted by death, and your soul is being tugged along with the others. Souls traverse planar boundaries on death. So if someone or something would interfere with this natural order, this could only be done along a planar fault line. A planar fault line, there is only 2 in the world. One in Icewind Dale, and the other in Chult. If I had to hazard a guess, I would place my money on Chult. Not only does it have what are known as ley lines, but the boundaries themselves are the thinnest there.
That means it's back home. Well, I don't like the sound of that. I don't like the sound of this messing with the Order of Souls.
Have you not wondered where that wonderful rift comes from that has allowed us to colonize this new world? It is the intersection point of the material plane with the others, the Feywild, the Shadowfell, even the Astral Sea and Abyss, all rub up close against Chult. This would be an artifact of grand proportions, more legendary and powerful than anyone has ever seen before. Something that can punch a hole through the fabric of reality itself. Between things, between matter, between time.
This is... Ah, shit.
What is this thing?
What could do it?
I know not. This is outside of my realm of expertise. I specialize in the undead and necromancy. This is a matter of planes, dimensions, and space. I am no scientist. I raise the dead and they do my bidding. Souls are simple when they're kept here.
Fresh hell have they dragged us off to now, Steve? What fresh
Now.
hell indeed.
If you would be so kind. My heart. She'll hold out her hand expectantly.
I will look to Victor for...
Victor will nod vigorously.
I will offer... I'll hold out the heart gently and let her take it from my hand.
She will take the heart, and the left side of her body, somewhat decomposed and degraded, she will shove the heart back into her chest cavity. A wise choice. You may live to die another day.
Thank you
She
very
will
kindly.
snap her fingers and dissolve into mist.
Thank you very kindly.
Guess it's time to go back home.
Okay, that went well. That was a lucky bluff. I guess that was indeed her phylactery. Oh dear. Well done, lads. Well done. With this lead, the Harpers, the Emerald Enclave, and you, if you wish to have a part of it, we could save thousands of lives.
I must admit, I'm not much of a interested in the world-saving business, but anything that can traverse the plains does have my curiosity, if only of the grim sort.
There's payment involved.
Most certainly. The Harpers are quite well funded, as are the Emerald Enclave, and I'm sure the Empire and the Lord's Alliance would also be immensely grateful to whoever brings this to a stop. I can promise you, if you take up this quest, you will live comfortably for the rest of your lives.
And this Chult, this is forest, jungle, something like that.
Jungle. Dense jungle. Tropical. Warm, humid, rainy, hostile.
I can
Is
be
it-
your
is it-
guide then.
Hey, some of us locals aren't that bad. Some of us are friendly.
Well,
But-
I would quite believe it. In fact, I know somebody there. And as coincidence would have it, I believe our friend Zaldara said this had something to do with planar boundaries and travel, yes?
Yeah.
Yes, that is rather interesting.
Well,
Okay.
an old colleague of mine lives on Chult. We parted ways a while ago, but that was her specialty. Planar travel, interplanetary travel. She's an expert.
Mm-hmm.
Perhaps
She-
seeking her out may be a path forward.
What's her name?
Valindra Shadowmantle.
Now I've got that written down.
She would definitely be an asset in this quest. She could almost certainly lead us to whatever thing or person or artifact is causing this death curse. She's much more acquainted with these things than I, or even Zaldara. She's a very powerful archmage. More powerful than I dare say. Although I feel I should warn you. Her personality is quite abrasive.
Good thing I got a hard shell.
She may be a handful to deal with, but the information she could give could be invaluable to solving this.
What is it with wizards and abrasive personalities? Well, I suppose we have to make our way to Chult then.
Well, lads, would you make do to extend the payment and escort them? Aye, that's no problem with me. I can get them to Port Nianzaru, no problem.
And I'm fairly certain that I have some family over in Chult. Go by the name of Hackenstones, if you have heard of them. Sheldon. They have a mining.
I've not heard of them.
No.
They're on the west coast of Chult, so we could always stop by there.
I don't know where exactly Valindra is, but I can say for certain she is quite a recluse, so it will be unlikely you'll find her near any town, city, or civilization.
What of you, Victor? That mar on your face. Is there some way you can slow it? It seems like, from what the lich said, it's pulling you down.
I've tried several spells, however, this curse, this plague, seems to have a grip on my soul itself.
Well, I guess you can just make yourself a lich and escape that way.
If only it were that simple.
Oh, it's not? Well, then shows what I know about magic.
You have to kill people.
But you
Yes.
do? Well, I wouldn't know that.
A phylactery is fueled by souls of those slain. Perhaps you saw some evidence of Zeldara's.
That we did.
I will return to Thesarin and try and rally more adventurers to send after you. You'll have the first crack at it, but you won't be alone. This will be a world effort to try to stop this. The waters begin to get a lot more rough, and anybody above deck would see that on the horizon is a gaping maw of a black and purple portal.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah, with swirling water and wind surrounding it. The spiraling, gaping maw of purple and black encompasses your entire vision, as if the ocean itself were being swallowed up in space. And then suddenly,
aliens. It's
the waters are completely calm. There's still howling wind and rain pelting you from above, but it no longer seems to be affecting the water. You progress in this eerie silence, this gap between planets, for about 10 minutes. And eventually, the waters begin to get a little bit more rough again. And you see this portal now behind you. You have traveled the rift and returned to Toril. You are still in torrential downpour with howling winds and thunder crackling overhead. You peek over the edge of the ship, and you see that the water has turned a inky black. It don't seem right. We should be well away from the rift by now. Should be calm waters, should be smooth sailing. Whenever the lightning strikes, you see a faint silhouette of land off to your port side.
Over there. Alright. Hold on, everyone.
Hey, did you see something?
Yep. I found land.
Land.
Well, looks like it.
One moment. That may be Saltmarsh. You'll run to the captain's quarters for the charts. Aye, Sheldon, take us there. On the east side of the island if you can. And with that, you are at the docks of Saltmarsh.